Football game of games, the World's Championship, the grand and glorious climax to a season-long parade of professional pigskin thrills, is up for the taking. Yankee Stadium. Earmuffs, scarves, and gloves are the order of the day as 57,000 hale and hearty. This will be the fifth game between the Bears and the Giants for the World's Championship since 1933, when the National Football two sections. Only once have the Giants been able to beat the Bears in the postseason playoff. Earlier this year, the Giants and Bears met at this Inter-Conference League game and battled to an exciting 17-17 tie. Here they come, the mighty monsters of the Midway, the champions of the Western Conference, the Chicago Bears. The Bears are coached by Patty Driscoll, who took over from owner George Halas and won the title in his first year as head coach. George Blanda shares Chicago's quarterbacking chores, and he's also the Bears' place-kicking specialist. Blanda holds the National Football League record for consecutive points after touchdown at 156. Ed Brown is the other half of the Bears' 1-2 punch at the all-important quarterback spot. Brown is at his best on long-distance passes. Brown's prime target, all-pro end Harlan Hill, obliges a still photographer with pregame pictures. In J.C. Caroline, former Illinois All-American, Chicago has one of football's most versatile backs. Caroline plays both ways. After testing the frozen turf, Bill McCall decides cleats won't hold and changes to sneakers. The Bear offense is built around fullback Rick Caceres, the Florida Flash, who won the 1956 National Football League's ground-gaining crown. George Halas and Sid Luckman would like to see a repeat of the '46 game when Halas coached and Luckman quarterbacked the Bears to the title. In this corner, the champions of the Eastern Conference, the New York Giants. The New Yorkers are coached by Jim Lee Howell, who led the Giants to a season record of 8 victories, 3 defeats, and a tie. New Yorkers point with pride to their star, Frank Gifford, a 26-year-old, 205-pound halfback from Southern California. Gifford was the National Football League's most valuable player in 1956. On defense, the Giants feature king-size Roosevelt Greer, a 6'5", 275-pound terror from Penn State. His running mate is Dick Modulewski. Mighty Mo, an All-American from Maryland, weighs in at 260 pounds, standing at even 6 feet, and is 25 years old. Iowa's Emlyn Tennell, an all-pro defensive halfback, anchors a rugged New York secondary. Despite 2 bad knees, Kyle Rote is just about the toughest pass receiver to cover in the NFL. The Gray Eagle, Chuck and Charlie Connerly, a 9-year veteran of the Pro Grid Wars, will quarterback the New York 11. The Bears, who won the final week of the season by crushing the Detroit Lions, are slim 3-point favorites. Referee Bill Downs calls the captains to midfield. For the Giants, it's number 30, Bill Svoboda, and number 44, Kyle Rote. For the Bears, Klein Gilbert, number 62, and number 51, Wayne Hansen. The Giants win the toss, and New York elects to receive. The Bear team huddles with Coach Patty Driscoll for final pregame instructions. Across the field, the Giants gather around their coach, Jim Lee Howell, before taking the field. Don Heinrich, New York starting quarterback, limbers up. Now for the first half play-by-play, it's my pleasure to welcome to the Miller High Life microphone, Earl Gillespie.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel, and we're all ready for the kickoff. It's George Blanda doing the kicking, and the 1956 World's Championship is underway. Gene Filipski grabs the ball in the 7 and touches off the offensive fireworks as he flashes upfield. A sparkling 53-yard return by Villanova's Gene Filipski comes to an end when Johnny Malakas cuts him down from behind on the Chicago 39. It's 1st and 10 for New York, and that's Don Heinrich directing the attack. Heinrich floats a flare pass into the left flat to Alex Webster, but he trips and falls for a 1-yard loss. Heinrich goes to the air again. Don drops back, stops, and throws. Frank Gifford grabs the ball away from J.C. Caroline for a 22-yard gain. Now New York has a first down on the Chicago 17. Don Heinrich calls the numbers. Mel Triplett takes the handoff and knocks over everyone in sight, including umpire Sam Wilson, as he storms through the Bears on a 17-yard touchdown charge. The New York Giants score the first time they get the ball and lead 6-0. For the conversion attempt, the Giants call on their place-kicking specialist, Ben Agajanian, and Ben's boot bisects the bar, making it New York 7, Chicago nothing. Don Chandler, wearing one sneaker and one football shoe, kicks off for New York. Ray Smith drops the ball, picks it up, and is nailed by Jim Katcavage after a 7-yard run back. On Chicago's first scrimmage play, there's a mix-up in the backfield. Brown and Caceres mix connections on a handoff, and all-pro end Andy Robustelli pounces on the pigskin for a giant recovery on the Chicago 15. It's the first big break of the game, and the Giants drive to take advantage of it. Alex Webster thumps through the middle for 5 yards. On second down, Heinrich hands off to Mel Triplett. Triplett is trapped, and he tries to pass, but it falls incomplete. Now it's 4th and 5 for the Giants, and Agajanian enters the game. Ben boots a letter-perfect placement squarely between the uprights for a 17-yard field goal, and the Giants lead by 10-0. On the Giant bench, quarterback Don Heinrich thaws out with a hand warmer and talks over blocking assignments with offensive guard Bill Austin. Don Chandler kicks off again for New York. J.C. Caroline takes the kick on the 3 and brings it back to the 18. Our Miller High Life end zone camera picks up the action as the Bears put the ball in play. Ed Brown passes to Bill McCall, and Chicago has a first down in its own 40. Brown tries his luck on the overhead route once more. The Bear drive comes to an abrupt halt as Jim Patton goes high in the air to intercept. Patton scampers back 28 yards as the Giants set up shop on the Chicago 36. It's a big day and a big play for number 20, Jim Patton, the smallest man on the Giant squad. 3 downs later, the Giants are still in the 36, and in comes Agajanian. At 38, Ben is the oldest player in the field, but he still has what it takes. Aggie's 43-yard field goal, his longest of the season, puts the Giants in front 30-0, and you know these New Yorkers are a happy bunch. Chicago's Don Bingham, number 46, waits for the kickoff. Bingham pulls in the pigskin on the 9 and heads up the middle. Jim Katcavage finally drags him down on the Bears 35. On an inside handoff, J.C. Caroline cracks the New York defense for 6 hard yards. Caroline carries again. This time it's a wide sweep to the left side, and Caroline gets 3 yards before Dick Modulewski bowls him over. Along the sideline, New York's number 1 passer, Charlie Connerly, gloves and all, warms up his pitching wing. It's 4th and 1 for Chicago, and the Bears are going to go for it. Caroline is cut down by Bill Svoboda and M. Tunnell behind the line. The gamble backfires, and the Giants take over. It's 1st and 10 for New York on the Chicago 43. On a straight-ahead dive play, Frank Gifford powers through for 5 yards, and that's the end of the first quarter. New York leads Chicago 13-0, and football fans across the nation are enjoying the telecast. Charlie Connerly is the new Giant quarterback, and he puts the New Yorkers in the move right away. Webster takes a pitch out and swings around the right flank on his yard pickup. The left halfback, Frank Gifford, gets the call here, and he powers past the Bears to the Chicago 26. Connerly calls the numbers, but Chucking Charlie loses his footing on the frozen sod and eats the ball for a 2-yard loss. 3rd and 6 for the Giants, and this is a big play. Connerly fakes a pass, then lobs over the line to Webster. Webster is a terror today, and he tears the Bears to tatters on a terrific 22-yard trek. It's goal to go for the Giants, and Alex Webster gets them there in one bone-crushing charge as the underdog New Yorkers up their advantage to an amazing 20-0 margin. Don Chandler has his kicking foot doing yeoman service today, and again he sends the football flying deep in the Bear country. Don Bingham bags the ball and brings it back to the Bears' 28. Chicago is trying to run through the sturdy Giant defense and is not enjoying too much success. J.C. Caroline manages a 3-yard gain on this play. Ed Brown decides on a pass, but the pursuit of the onrushing Giants is relentless. Brown tries to get away on foot, but he's driven to the ground by Ed Hughes for a 1-yard loss. It's 4th and 8 for Chicago, and that's Ed Brown back in punt formation. Brown spirals a beauty, and waiting for the kick is M. Tennell. Tennell bobbles the ball, and it's a real hot potato. Big John Malakas finally wraps his 255-pound frame around the pigskin. Chicago has a big break on the New York 25. And the Bears are a little happier now. An inside handoff goes to Rick Caceres, and he slips through the middle for 2 yards. That's Ed Brown, the quarterback, rolling out the throw. Brown hits J.C. Caroline, and so does Sam Huff and Ed Hughes. Caroline has bounced out of bounds after gaining 7 big yards. This is Chicago's first scoring threat of the game, and they're hoping it'll pay off. Caceres plunges into the line, and he's close to a first down. The chain gang comes in for a measurement, and it's first down, Bears on the Giant 12. Bear razzle-dazzle. Brown fakes to Hill, then gives to Caroline in a deep reverse. The Giants are fooled, but not for long as linebacker Harlan Svari hauls Caroline down on the 9-yard line. Here's Rick Caceres at his best. The league's leading rusher rips through a nice opening, and he's in there for the Bears' first touchdown of the game. George Blanda lays the extra point right in your lap, and the Bears are back in the game. It's New York 20, Chicago 7, with 8 minutes remaining in the second quarter. George Blanda kicks off, and that's Fleet Gene Filipski waiting for the ball at the goal line. Gene picks up steam as he storms straight ahead. A fine shoe-top stop by Ed Meadows drops Filipski on the 28-yard line. Mel Triplett carries on a pitch out but gets nowhere. Stan Wallace comes up fast, and Triplett is trapped for a 1-yard loss. Charlie Connolly steps to the firing line and flips a spot pass to Alex Webster. A nifty sidestep, and Webster's away for good yardage. Ken McAfee leads the way on a 50-yard play that moves the ball deep into the lair of the Bear. Our Miller High Life sideline camera records a classic shot of the Giants' marvelous Mel Triplett. The hard-fighting fullback on a quake-em-shake-em charge bulldozes to the Chicago 3-yard line. Alex Webster knifes into the end zone to put the finishing touch to a 5-play, 72-yard scoring surge. With 5 minutes remaining in the first half, it's New York on top of Chicago 27-7. Alex Webster, 210-pounder from North Carolina State, who has scored twice today, gets a well-deserved rest as the New York defensive platoon goes into action. It's Don Chandler kicking off for the Giants. The bouncing ball gets away from Caroline. Don Bingham scoops it up, but he gets nowhere. Chicago deep in its own territory, and Ed Brown is trying to pass. The Giants apply tremendous pressure, and gargantuan Roosevelt Greer bangs Brown down way back on the 1-yard line. The Bears have to kick. Brown stands deep in his end zone, but Ray Beck breaks through to block the punt. The free ball is loose in the end zone, and Arkansas rookie Henry Moore gets his first professional score by recovering the ball for a touchdown. Who says the pros lack spirit? Just look at this Giant bench. It's New York by an overwhelming 34-7 score. For the 6th time in the first half, Don Chandler puts the ball in play. Don Bingham returns the kickoff 10 yards to the Chicago 26. Number 16, George Blenda, is in at quarterback for the Bears, and he hands off to Bobby Watkins, who hits the left side of the line for 5. This time, Blenda goes back to throw. George passes over the middle to Harlan Hill, and it's good for an 18-yard gain as Hill moves to the Giant 46. Time is running short on the Bears, and they have to pass. Here's that same Blanda to Hill pattern. Now watch this tackle. Ooh, Ed Hughes applies the stopper, and what a stop. Chicago is in New York territory, but the Bears must battle both the clock and the Giants. Blanda attempting to pass is thrown by Harlan Sparry for a long loss, and that's the end of the first half. It's a surprising form reversal. The New York Giants, alert to every opportunity and displaying a fighting and ferocious defense, leave the field at halftime on the long end of an amazing 34-7 score. Now for the second half play-by-play, here's the voice of the New York Giants, my good friend Chris Schenkel.
Thank you, Earl Gillespie. And we're ready to go with the third quarter action. It will be Don Chandler kicking off for New York. And the deep men for the Bears are Caroline and Bingham. It's Bingham who takes the kick at the 10 and returns it along the far side to the Chicago 24. Ed Brown is the Bears quarterback. He throws to Harlan Hill, cutting across the middle, and Hill gets to Chicago's 49-yard line. Brown carries on a bootleg play, but Robustelli, Patton, and Greer are right on top of him, and he's tossed hard after a 2-yard gain. The fearsome New York defense hasn't let up for 1 second, and there's no let up here. Brown is rushed off his feet by Walt Jaworski and Dick Modulewski, and there's a 6-yard loss on the play. Chicago shifts into a short punt formation, and Caceres carries on a direct pass from center. Rick reels off 15 fast yards, and the Bears are in Giant territory. The Bears are using this formation to give Ed Brown, the deep man, a better opportunity to pass. It works here as Brown connects with Harlan Hill, who hurries to the New York 17. Brown moves back under center in the Bears' basic T formation. Ed lobs a short screen pass to Rick Caceres. Caceres carries to the 10 where Bill Svoboda drops him. There goes Brown rolling out. He's got a blocker in front, but he can't get around M. Tennell, who runs him out of bounds on the New York 4. The Bears have a big threat going now. Brown shoots a quickie pass intended for Bill McCall in the end zone, but Hughes and Tennell converge to break up the play. 4th and goal to go for the Bears. Brown fires a bullet pass to Harlan Hill, but Hill can't hold it. Giant defenders Dick Nolan and Jim Patton claim Hill dropped the ball, and the officials agree it's no touchdown. Let's review that important play from the Miller end zone angle. Watch closely and you'll see Hill drop the ball and recover it. Consequently, the pass is incomplete, and the ball goes over to New York. The magnificent New York defenders receive a rousing ovation as they trot to the sideline. While across the field, it's a different story. The Bears simply stare in disbelief. The Giants flank Gifford to the left, and the speedy halfback races straight down the sideline. Connerly spots him open, and man, this combination is murder. Gifford, a gifted receiver, is also a gilt-edged runner as he races away on a 67-yard play. It's 1st and 10 for New York on the Chicago 12. After that big play, the Giants take timeout, and Connerly comes over to the sideline for instructions from backfield coach Vince Lombardi. Alex Webster on a pitch out, cuts back over right tackle and moves across the 10-yard line. Our Miller High Life sideline camera gives us a close-up view of just how touchdowns are made. It's Charlie Connerly to Kyle Roach, and ring up 6 more points for the Giants. On the Giant bench, the old pro, Charlie Connerly, joins Kyle Roach and Don Heinrich, and here's a happy threesome. Don Chandler, who's getting a real workout today, kicks off. Don Bingham takes it at the 12 and tries to get through the middle, but Cliff Livingston chops him down at the 30-yard line. Chicago shifts back into its short punt formation. Ed Brown passes to Bill McCall, who's rolled out of bounds on the Bears' 44. But a 15-yard penalty on this play cancels out the advance, and now the Bears are forced to kick. Ed Brown boots. Gene Filipski takes it at midfield, cuts to the outside, and sprints to the Chicago 39, where Bill Whitekin drives him out of bounds. This play presents a perfect picture of Frank Gifford in action. Gifford is trapped while attempting to pass, but that doesn't faze Frank. With some fancy footwork, he transforms a snafu play into a snappy 16-yard gain. Mel Triplett powers through the middle, and the Giants are sitting pretty on the Chicago 18. That's the end of the line for the New York Express, and Ben Agajanian attempts to salvage the situation, but Ben's boot is off course. For one of the few times today, Jim Lee Howell's Giants failed to cash in on a scoring opportunity, and Jim is none too happy about it. George Blanda takes over at the signal calling post for Chicago, but he has no more success than his predecessor, Ed Brown, as robust Andy Robustelli creams him for a 5-yard loss. The Bears can't make up the loss, and they're forced to kick out of danger again. That's Ed Brown doing the punting, and he gets it away. Gene Filipski, standing on the Giant 40, makes a fair catch. That's the final play of third quarter, with the New York Giants sporting an almost insurmountable 40-7 bulge over the Chicago Bears. The Giants put the ball in play in the fourth quarter, with Gifford packing the pigskin on a pitch out around the left wing for a 4-yard gain. For only the third time today, the Giants are stopped and forced to kick. Don Chandler gets away a long boot. McNeil Moore fields it on the 16, and he's smothered immediately. Number 83, Big Bill McCall, leads Chicago's offensive unit into action. The Bears put McCall right to work as Blanda pinpoints him with a 13-yard pass. Blanda tries to get away another pass, but Andy Robustelli runs him down 8 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Blanda promptly makes up that loss with 6 yards to boot as he passes to Jim Dooley, who button hooks and bags the ball on the Chicago 35. It looks like Blanda is bringing the Bears out of hibernation as he hits Harlan Hill with a 12-yard completion. The Giants are doing a giant-sized job in containing the running of Rick Caceres. But Rick gets into the thick of things here as he shags a fair pass for an 8-yard pickup. Frank Gifford joins Jim Lee Howell on the sideline to shout encouragement to their team. It's 4th and 4 now, and Blanda's trying to pick up a first down. He passes in the left flat to Bob Watkins, but Watkins drops the ball, and the Giants take over. Andy Robustelli, the game's outstanding defensive player, is enjoying his second consecutive championship game. Last year, he played with Los Angeles. The Giants mean strictly business. Mel Triplett stays on his pins as he spins through the Chicago secondary for 19 yards. Charlie Connolly, New York's peerless passer, is perfection personified. Charlie spirals the pigskin direct to who else? Frank Gifford, and it's good for 29 yards. Watch this play carefully as Connolly passes to Gifford for a score. And you'll see Art Spieler, our Miller High Life cameraman, get into the thick of the action. Now let's see what the sideline camera saw on that thrilling Connolly to Gifford touchdown. Look out! Oh, well, it's all in a day's work. And the game goes on with New York in front, 47-7. Don Chandler sends the kickoff careening into the end zone where Don Bingham is waiting for it. Bingham races straight ahead but runs into a stone wall at the Chicago 2. The Bears are in that short punt formation again with Ed Brown, the deep man, throwing to Jim Dooley for a gain of 15 yards. Brown is filling the air with footballs as Chicago fights to save face. Harlan Hill takes this down and out toss right at midfield. Brown takes a direct pass from center and tries to get a pass away. The Giants are in hot pursuit, and Walt Jaworski crunches Brown 9 yards behind the line of scrimmage. That's all for Brown, and George Blanda comes back in the game. But this just isn't Chicago's day. Linebacker Bill Svoboda, a demon all day on defense, picks off this pass. Svoboda sweeps back to the Bears' 46. Bill Svoboda, number 30, a 7-year veteran from Tulane University, is a tired warrior as he walks to the bench with tiny Roosevelt Greer. Quarterback Bobby Clatterbuck joins in the parade of Giant performers, and he feeds a handoff to Mel Triplett that clicks for 16 yards. Clatterbuck passes on this play, and the punter, Don Chandler, shags it for 6 yards. Clatterbuck attempts a fourth down pass, but he can't get it away, and the Bears take over as the final seconds tick away. Chicago is trying. Blanda passes on the screen to Rick Caceres for a 19-yard gain, but that's the end of the game. A spectacular 47-7 victory for New York. Coached superbly by Jim Lee Howell and his staff, paced offensively by Triplett, Webster, Connerly, Gifford, and Rote, bolstered defensively by 11 men resembling Sherman tanks, the New York Giants win professional football's biggest prize, the world's championship.